Howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome. Man, just pay attention, man. Pay attention to details. What were you thinking? Anyhow, while we're waiting on this thing to load up, Unreal Engine 4, love it. It doesn't love me sometimes, but yeah, still fun. As the video title kind of suggests here, paying attention to details. And it's little details in a game that, howdy. Paying attention to details on how you can do things to your game to make it look nicer, feel different, and be different. You know, when you're creating a game, you really gotta, there's just so many things have already been done. It's hard to be unique. It's hard to be different from everything else out there. I get a lot of people, can you make a game like Fortnite? No. Can I? Probably. Will I? No. It may have some elements like Fortnite, but I'm not going to create something like Fortnite. Can you make something like Paragon? Nope. Like it? Maybe. But, you know, it's the thing is, why create something like something when you can create your own something? What kind of details can you add to a map that will make it unique, that will keep the player's attention because there's little things that they might have missed, or Easter eggs, or little details that most people wouldn't necessarily notice, that aren't necessarily required to make the game perfect. For example, I'm going to be using the Polygon Town map, the demonstration map from there. Kind of been throwing some things on here that were little detail items, and I kind of want to work through a few little detail items as well. As many of you know, I'm always really big about putting in things like sounds. Sounds are extremely important to really just make a map. So I've added some assets in here from other assets as well. So if I hit play, I still need to refine my character just a little bit. He's still hovering a couple inches above the ground, but I'll get that. Again, it's a detail thing. If your character is not on the ground, I mean, your character is hovering. That's something that needs to be addressed. Actually, these two characters and that police car are from the Polygon City asset pack. Right now I have the normal nature sounds are turned off. Well, yeah, that might be helpful, right? Gee, is that better? Sorry, wrong scene selected. So, the Polygon Town map. I've placed a couple spawn points in, and as I was mentioning, we're still hovering, and I'll look at fixing that here in just a second. One of the things that I noticed on their demonstration map was the wrench and the hammer that's up there. The wrench was actually upside down, so I fixed that. I started populating a few more things inside the store, even though this is supposed to be a hardware store. I didn't have a whole lot of options here. So, and I also put lovely lady working behind the counter and some sunglass things over here, and why not some hot dogs and ice cream, just because, you know, when you're shopping for hardware, you might get thirsty and hungry. Another little thing that you might not notice is the guy sitting down inside the car. He's sitting over here chatting on his Bluetooth. Little detail wise, some of these houses, the majority of these houses you cannot go into. There is no interior in them, and there's a little gap right here in this door, and I can kind of see through it. I'll show how to fix that here in just a second. There's all these little things in the backyard, like playground, slide, and table, kids' backyard, but it was just a trampoline here, so why not add a launch pad to it so you can actually jump on the trampoline and be able to jump on the roof. This door was closed on both sides, so I opened them up, and there was no interior, so I put the floor and ceiling in so you can actually have an interior to this one. But because all of these buildings, you know, there's only the stores, this house here that has interior and is populated with furniture and stuff like that. I don't know why there's a box in the middle of the floor there, but clean your room, damn it. Little things. There was a garbage can here that was in the way, so I moved it to the side a little bit so you can actually walk through here instead of having to jump over it. You know, little things like if I go to this house, I can't go in. Whereas like this one over here, it had an interior space. The building had doors that were removable, so I opened the doors and I put some basic interior in. Same thing with this one. Of course, they're tiny houses. Who has a house that small? I guess if it's a mother-in-law suite or something like that. But so what can we do with the rest of them? You know, like this house over here, there's no interior. None in this one right here. And then you got this same little dinky one right over here with no interior whatsoever. So why not go ahead and just add an interior? So now you can walk into this one, and I put a little bit of interior stuff in here, and you got one door is actually usable. So you can walk over now and press E, and you go through the door, and now you can teleport back. And I'll show you how I did that here in just a second. Did the same thing with the building that's over here on the other side of town. It's the same building, just in a different location. And yes, that does replicate. So if two of us go into that same room, then we'll both go in. Now this door is not active, but I can come over here, and it's the same building. So if I do that, now when I come inside, it's the same interior as the other one because it's the same building. And all I did was I put a portal there and a teleport function over here for this one, and I created the interior of that building underneath the map. So this is that interior right here. So when you actually use that teleporter to go into the door, you come to this interior right here, this underneath the ground. And then when you exit, you come out right there where you went in. We did that in a video the other day on teleporting in and out. So let's actually go back in here and... Alright, so as we're walking around, little things like the guy sitting in the car talking on his phone, the wrench being in the right direction. Let's come over here to, and there was two cops standing next to their patrol car. None of these cars move. That's something we could think about later down the line. Put a firefighter standing in front of the fire truck over here. My favorite guy is this one over here. You know, you've seen these guys that have to dress up in costumes and dance or spin signs. Why not? We got the hot dog guy out here dancing just to try to entice you to come in here and buy hot dogs. So I gave him a little dance animation. So that's all he does, sit here and dance. We got this dude sitting here idling behind the counter. He looks happy to be here. Rescaled the gas pumps. They were a little bit too big. They were actually much taller than the player was, so I rescaled those. Moved this car, moved a few vehicles around. Probably, but I got this from somebody else. Some animation that had already been re-rigged and were set up specifically for the UE4 mannequin, so they were really easy to switch over. I got a bunch of other ones too, but so first problem that I want to look at is my guy is a couple inches above the ground, and that one little minor thing does not change the mechanics of the game. It still plays just fine, but it's an attention to detail thing that if we look, it shouldn't be a thing. Normally I try to size up the player, the character model with the bottom of this. So if I actually lower this down just a little bit, let's turn off snapping so I can do it. And try that. The Paragon project, there was just a few too many salty little pricks that were causing problems with my team, and I got rid of all of them, and they took it upon themselves, and the morally bankrupt individuals from Brain Dead Games also took it upon themselves to attack anybody that was working on my dev team in any capacity whatsoever. And since if that's the kind of people that I'm going to deal with on Paragon, then sorry, I'm just not going to do it. Because if they're that salty that they thought they ran my company and my business and were going to tell me things like how much I'm going to sell my game for, I told them in the beginning, I'm already making a game and I'm already going to release it. And if they want Paragon to be part of it, I will be glad to make it a strong part of it. But it was always my game and my project. And whenever I decided that they were getting a little bit too possessive over my team and over my project and over my company, I reminded them that they're only community contributors. And I didn't demote them, I didn't fire them, I didn't do anything negative to them. I just removed their access to the files. Short term, I had them as part of being able to see the dev crew stuff. And if you're not actively developing part of the game, you don't need access to the dev crew. You don't need access to the files. You don't need that information. If you're, especially if all you are is a community contributor, then yeah. So I changed their status to just that of community contributor, and they got really toxic and they got really salty, and they had tried to bring in a investor, and with that investor, great group of guys, love them. I won't mention the names of them right now, but love them. They're great guys. They brought them on board without consulting with me first, but okay, no problem. But I had to remind them all that you don't have any financial control over my company, and you don't have any control over what I'm doing. You're just a contributor to the community aspect of it. And they ran off to the investor crying that, oh my God, he's being an asshole, and you know, he won't let us have access to the files. And literally, I thought one of these dipshits was going to cry. And he was literally breaking down to the point of having a nervous panic attack because he overstepped his bounds and didn't understand what his role was. And no bueno, dude. You don't go to your financial investors crying and complaining like a 2-year-old. I didn't get my way. Well, I need a tampon. So the financial investors backed out from them. You know, I still have them as long as I can get my game released, which I plan on doing a release here, which is why I need to get my ass back to work and doing more stuff. Making good progress on the project, but I'm working on it alone. But we're going to be doing a release about a week or so before Halloween, which is why I wanted everybody to do a Halloween themed map so I can include some other people's maps. And if they get rated good enough, then hell, I'm going to throw some money at you guys for doing these maps. If I'm making money, you guys are making money. Plus, it's good if I've got a released title and making money off of it, and your maps are in my game, you can use that as a resume towards joining other people's teams, or hell, just stay on my team and make money as I make money. So, but yeah, I still have a deal with the financial contributors, even though the kids at Brain Dead Games lost it. I didn't. So, but I made an agreement with them saying, hey, you guys don't give me a friggin' penny, because if I'm not giving you a game until I put something in front of you saying, here's a release project with your stuff in it, as we talked about it, I don't want your money. I have to earn your trust. And the guys at Brain Dead Games completely blew it. They blew it with their behavior during being part of my team, and they have blown it considerably since then by attacking anybody affiliated with my team. I broke all affiliations with other Discord channels, like the Virtus Learning Hub and stuff like that. I was a moderator there. I don't want anything to do with anybody else's Discord channel, because I know these pathetic little bastards are going to go after them and attack them as well, because they got so butthurt because they couldn't control me, and I'm a grown-ass fucking man, and this is my company. You don't like it? Piss off and move on. So, since the community, and not just the community, but those people were so salty and toxic that I said, you know what, if I put anything in there, it'll be the way that I want it, and I don't care. I never played Paragon, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, it doesn't affect me much. I had some guys on my team that did play, and they want to see the elements of it, but I'm going to do it in a different way. Instead of cloning somebody else's work, I'm going to do my own. And if you love it, then you love it. If you don't love it, you don't love it, you know? So, back to the thing here. Let's see if that little quick fix... I'm still hovering above the ground. So, it's not much. It's less than it was. So, probably go ahead and just tweak it just a hair more. It's more than it should need to go. I know you probably can't even see what I'm actually doing there, but it was just to try to eliminate as much of that floating aspect as possible. And it's pretty much gone now. So, details. In my nature sound is one of the things, I say mine, it's one that I downloaded and made some modifications to, so Creative Commons wise, it must be mine, right? So, there's a couple ways we can add the sound to this map. There's a really, really complicated way you can add sound to your map. And go to audio, we've got nature, I've got it sound up as set up as a sound cue. And this is a very complicated way that you can add this to here, okay? But you guys follow me, and this is going to be complicated, okay? You left click on the sound cue, you drag it and drop it into your map, and you're done. I know it's complicated. I know there's a lot of steps involved. You had to left click, and then you had to move your mouse while you're holding the left click, left button down, and then you had to let go of the left mouse button. It's complicated. I know. I'm sorry to try to show you something too complicated, but I've adjusted the sound cue so that it's really low. It's just enough to where you can hear it in the background, and that works. It works really well. You can't see anything on the ground. You don't see it right there. It goes invisible when you're playing, and it's great. It does really lovely. It does add that nice little sound ambience to the ambiance to the game. It's so much more lovely. But whenever I go inside the building here with my little teleport deal, I can still hear the damn crow in the background, and I can still hear the birds chirping. I'm inside a building. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it inside. I want to hear whatever's going on in here whenever I walk in. So I'm going to have to do it a couple different ways. I can either set up sound attenuation to where, okay, I put it right here and it only radiates as far as, the sidewalk maybe. So I can just place them all down the street, and then, yeah, you could probably get away with that, but I don't know of any way of blocking sound any other way. One of the things I want to look at later is that flag is stationary. It doesn't move. I'm sorry, but I thought it was kind of cool to add the trampoline, adding some functionality to the trampoline. It was just a static mesh that was thrown into the map. It didn't do anything. I had to make it, I had to do this, so you could actually jump on the trampoline. Such a small, insignificant little thing to add is that, and it's so complicated to do. Possibly. But I'd have to look at like volumes and stuff like that, see if there's a cold distance volume. Might be some stuff that I can do. There's a level streaming volume. There might be some other things that I can do. Ooh, a pain causing volume. I like that. So you can put that on your map. So if anybody goes into an out of bounds area, they start taking damage. Physics volume, post-processing, pre-computed visibility. There's a lot of cool volumes you can play around with. But the trampoline, all I did was I put the static mesh in, and I added in a box collision so that I tried to scale it as much as I could as a box so that it would be as close to the top of the trampoline as possible. So you got the trampoline, the collision box, and it's really complicated in a lengthy blueprint you have to put in here. You get a reference right here. You right click on your collision box and you select on component begin overlap from the other actor, cast to player base, as player base, launch character, and put 10,000 or 1,000 for the launch velocity and the z-axis. That's it. Super major functionality there. Yeah, that's where those kind of games come in quite handy. I have a slight variation to the Battle Royale theme that I'm not going to go into a whole lot right now because the fact that I'm actually working on a game that has a game mode in it. But it uses, instead of having the storm system, just start off with a smaller map and a smaller number of players. And yeah, the way things are going to go with that game is going to be different. All right, another thing that I did here on just tweaking this map, really leave the sound in there for now, but going around and paying attention to details like walking through areas. Can I fit through here? If I can't fit through there, is it going to piss off the player? I can't walk through here. I can't get through that gap. Why can't I get through that gap? Well, can I jump right here and go through here? No, then it's going to piss off somebody. So why not just take this chair and rotate it and just move it over a little bit. Set it right there. So now what happens, and I'm just going to go over here, right click on the ground and select play from here. So now I can just start right there. So now I can walk through there. And that may not seem like much, but it's one of those little things where you're paying attention to details to where, oh, okay, well I can now walk through here, but can I walk through here? No. Well, can't be 100% perfect. What about here? Oh, I'm standing in the air. I can't stand inside the pickup truck bed. That's a different kind of model issue and collision issue that I can't deal with right now, or not gonna. Doesn't matter to me as much. Oh, the reason why I came to this house was not just that chair, but in the backyard there is a little swimming pool. And what was happening is when you jumped into the pool, you were standing on top of the water. So I just disabled collision on the water, and I modified the collision on the swimming pool so that you could actually fall into it. It was actually one big solid block and you couldn't go in the water. So I just made it to where you could fall into the water. And there's an in-ground swimming pool right down the street over here. And one of the things I thought about was whenever you get close enough to the church, you might hear the church bells toll, but that will get annoying after a while, so I decided not to. Same thing with this pool here. When I get in here, I can now jump into the water, but hell, that's friggin' hell of a pool noodle there. I can stand on the damn thing. I'm sure if I wanted to spend the time to it, I could actually apply the physics to it and get it to move around and stuff. But what would happen if I applied physics to it right now is it would probably fall into the bottom of the pool, and it wouldn't be as realistic. So I just kind of left it alone to where they're just kind of floating right there. Same thing for the hot tub. I changed the collision mesh on the pool and on the water so you could actually get in here and stand in the hot tub. I haven't added the animations in for crouching yet. There's nothing on the grill here. One of the things that I normally do is I'll put a table here and I'll add some music. So when you get into the backyard, you can actually hear music playing. I did also go around and open up all these sheds. At some point, what I'll probably do is I'll maybe set up some form of, when you walk up here and you bump into the door opens up depending on which way you go. Or maybe a function to where you stand here, hit the E key, and it opens the door. And then I go inside, and then I can turn around and hit E again to close the door. So I can hide in here. You know, little things like that. There's also little things. Right now I don't really hear the music. I've got my volume levels turned down just so I'm not blaring over through the microphone. But it was nice to add the functionality of the teleport system like we did in the other video, to where I can come over here and go to the interior of a building that did not have interior already. If you guys want me to do that again and show how to do that again, let me know. It's really simple. Probably reduce the number of vehicles as well. Again, paying attention to details. That bus, the model caused it to actually float above the ground just a little bit. And if I grab a hold of it, I can actually lower it down manually so the tires are actually touching the ground. That says bad size, which means it's sticking to the ground just a hair. So I needed to change that. So I'm going to need to look at all these vehicles. That one's fine. I know it's just that bus model that rides above the ground just a little bit. The rest of them seem to be pretty good. Fire truck's not bad. Garbage truck is okay. But if I come over here to this bus, I guarantee it's going to be above the ground. Yep, just a hair above the ground. Now, another thing that has been part of video games for a long time is Easter eggs. And this is where it comes in handy to actually get into your map and walk around it. You need to get in your maps and walk around, explore, spend some time making sure you can walk through areas, and you know all the details are there for you to be able to maneuver around your map completely. But Easter eggs are something that's been part of video gaming for a long time. I can remember games like Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warriors and Rise of the Triad and older DOS 4 GW games. And a lot of developers will put in little things called Easter eggs. And no, I'm not talking about putting a little brightly colored egg over here in the garden. And you could, like somebody was playing, you know, for Easter and they put Easter eggs out and they're trying to hunt Easter eggs. That's one thing. But a true Easter egg is something that's put into a map that absolutely does nothing whatsoever to add or subtract away from the functionality of the map, but it is a cosmetic detail added for the sheer humor of the player or of the developer. It's like with this garbage truck right here. You got garbage that's inside there. So I don't have nature in here right now. Well, I can fix that. So let's minimize some of these other things, and I'm going to quickly add the Polygon Nature Pack in here because I'm going to need it for other stuff as well. And pardon the sniffles. Right now I've got sinus pressure and sinus headaches. It's quite heavy. Polygon Nature. And where's my project? Right here. I'm sure I'm in the right project. I've done that before. Try to move in something and actually put it in the wrong damn project, and then wonder where the hell is so and so. I know I put the damn thing in here. Where is it? I can't find it because my damn ass put it in the wrong project. Don't ask again. Don't import. So Polygon Nature had something in here that was props skeleton. So let's put a skeleton in the garbage truck. And you don't necessarily have to put the whole thing visible. It's just you want it to be just enough to where if somebody looks in the back of this garbage truck, they might just happen to see that there's a skull or part of a corpse or whatever. And it's an Easter egg. It's just one of those things where you won't see it anywhere else. Let's play from here. So someone dumped a corpse in the back of the garbage truck. So, and that would be an Easter egg. Something you've added in there just to... You'll walk by this garbage truck 100 times and never notice it, and all of a sudden it's like, Oh god, there's a corpse in there. There's like trash bags mixed in with it, and yeah. So that's what I'm saying is, add things in that will change the appearance of the map cosmetically in a funny way. Now, the Polygon Town, as we look at these trees, you may not pay attention to them because they're just trees, okay? Whatever, that's cool. But if we're going to use the Polygon Nature Pack, then why not use some other trees here? You know, these trees are fine. They're static. Just happen to have an empty planter here for a tree. Let's see what we got here to work with. So I've put those trees in versus the other ones. As we're looking at our map, and let's go ahead and play from here. So as you look, now as you're walking around the map, instead of those little static trees, that one actually has some movement to it. So it makes it feel like there's some wind blowing through. And to me, I think that looks better than just, you know, the static trees here. These are fine. But what would you rather see in your map? Everything still or a little bit of movement? Especially since we have that sound going on in the background. So let's actually... I'm going to start off with these trees through here. And instead of just deleting them all through here, there may be some out there that I don't want to delete just yet. So I'm going to grab these guys, since they're all the same tree, and I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Now I can actually copy and paste this tree in, but here's the thing is you can also just Control C and Control V, copy and paste, and just drag it in here. But what I would do also is rotate it just a little bit, and you can vary the scale of the height maybe of 0.9, so it's not exactly the same height. And then Control V, let's paste another one in. I would go ahead and just put them in first, and then go back and rotate them, change the size. You can go 1.1, make it a little taller. This one we'll say is 0.8. It's a little bit shorter. So you vary the size just a little bit, and gives your map a little bit of fluidity, and it looks a little nicer. So Control V and start putting these in on the other side. But what I'm going to do is, you see the spacing is off. I know it's insignificant, but if I were to come over here and grab this tree, and if I just grabbed all four of these and grab the three, Control C and Control V, and now drag them over and line them up, I like symmetry. Things need to be symmetrical, and real world is not symmetrical. So you can see the little bases here don't line up. So I can have the best of both worlds. I can have trees that are varied sizes, but I can still make their location symmetrical. So thanks to the Polygon Nature Pack, we just took the normal trees, and now we look and we actually have some trees that have movement. So it adds a little bit of life to the scene that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. So what I'll do is I'll go back through here and I can do the same thing with the rest of these trees, replace them with other stuff. And you got these big trees, big old oak trees in the backyard and that kind of stuff. I don't know yet if I would do anything with that tree for now, because it does have a tree house in it. So again, one of those little attention to detail things. no, you can't get to it. I'm sure if you tried some funky jumping and stuff like that, you might be able to get partially on it. But here's another thing. That football, you can step on top of it and it doesn't move. What if we came over here and simulate physics? Would that do it? And it fell through the earth. So you can mess around with it, and can character step on, collision presets, physics actor. I guess if you wanted to, you could sit there and screw around with it and give it full physics so that you could actually walk around and kick the ball. But the other trees like these, I don't know if I would change the background trees. So you got what I would call the foreground trees, like these little guys here, the vegetation down here, this little tree, these. But these back here, what I call background trees. You're really not going to spend much time back here, so they're not a primary focus area. So I don't know if I would actually do much to change those around, because they're not going to be a primary focus area. Like this big tree over here, it's in the focus. So what if I took that one out and replaced it with this one? Okay, so you had all this other foliage stuff up top there to make it look more full, but I can put this tree in and it actually has movement to it and looks a little better and would be good for a foreground tree. Again, let's take this pine tree out and let's put this birch tree in. No, let's put in we took out a pine, let's put in a pine. Or a conifer. We took out a conifer. You got this type right here too. I don't know that if I would mix them. So if you wanted to keep the theme, these are kind of more of a polygon look. This is more of a realistic look. So up to you. I think I'm going to stick with, I don't know, it's a tough choice. I'll replace it with another, see if there's any tall conifers. Just tree, pine, but we can go over here and change it to 2 by 2 by 2 and make it bigger. So you got your foreground trees and your background trees. And let's throw one of these in. I don't like that one because it's you know, it looks like it's part of a forest tree instead of it's a background tree, not a foreground tree. So this one, come in here and do the same thing. What the hell is your problem? You go where the hell I tell you to go, and you'll like it. So it's these little things, like we got these 3 foliage trees right here. You know, these are bigger and they're the polygon style, which I'm not hating. But just because those are shorter than this one, well, you can just do 0.5 by 0.5 and scale it to about the same size. And again, to me, the low poly trees look more like a background item instead of a foreground item. And again, a foreground, to me, a foreground item is something you're going to see and you're going to walk by and pay attention to. And since these trees did have some symmetry to them, I'm going to put my own symmetry on it. So I'm going to grab this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. I'm going to delete them. And instead of actually doing it in a foliage editor, I'm going to do it this way because I can have more control over it. So I can see that I'm skipping 2, 1, 2, and then going to the third. I'm putting some symmetry in. So 1, 2, plant, 1, 2, plant, 1, 2, plant. So there is some symmetry in those bushes, but I would change the symmetry to 0.4, 0.4 to break some of it, and then it's actually going to take this one and make it 0.6. So as you're looking at them, you're not going to be totally thrown off. As you walk by, oh look, okay, they're moving, although I do need to rotate them. Let's grab my rotation. So that they're not facing exactly the same direction. You have that little bit of difference between them. So again, as we're walking through this street right here, we've got the new trees in place versus the dull static ones. So now you actually have some movement here, and it feels a little bit nicer. It's those little details. I'm not considering to make you guys watch me change every tree out in this map, but just wanted you to see the little detail items. And yes, this does involve actually buying and using multiple asset packs, but then again, honestly, is that such a bad thing whenever you're buying assets like these? Not just because they're cool and they're good quality and they work great, but I'm just saying that if you're trying to make a game and you don't know how to do 3D modeling, you don't have a big crew that can make all these things for you, why not spend a few bucks with a company that's already done the hard work of making the assets? And Cydia Studio assets may not be the photorealistic, cool awesomeness. They have their own cool factor. Look how popular Fortnite is, and it's not high res. It's higher res than this a little bit, but you know, what the hell? I like this look. It's kind of retro while still being modern. I like the feel of these things. I didn't at first, but the more I use them, the more I love them. Coffee, good shit. So to me, that little bit of detail helps break up the map a little bit and adds a little bit of life to it. And that's the whole thing, is when you're planning out your maps, like if you look at this grass stuff right here, and this would be something you would put in a foliage editor. To me, those are boring. Again, if you're just using the Polygon Town Pack, okay, and that's what you got. That's what it came with. But I got the Nature Pack, so I'm going to use these guys. So with that grass, if I put this guy in here, like at the base of a tree, it moves. You know, I mean, this is probably not the best way to do it overall, but you know what? I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm stupid. So again, putting those in, they actually move, so it adds a little bit of life to the map. That probably would have been better. A little bit of undergrowth around the base of the tree. But foreground stuff, you want to have movement. It's okay for the trees back here to be, you know, lower poly and not moving. It's just because they're background stuff. But you can enhance that layer by going to, like if you're using the Nature Pack, and throw in some stuff that's lower poly, a little bit brighter in color, and they actually have some movement to them to break up that difference between the foreground and the background stuff. So as you look now, as we're walking by, paying attention to the dancing hot dog in the background there, again, you've got the intermediate between the foreground and the background. Those brighter colored trees help break up that overall feel. Like that I'm getting rid of those. And to me, that is floating in the air. So I'm going to grab these guys. I'm going to dump them. And I go back to my plants. And it's a grass patch that I can drag in here. Got to do the shaders on that one naturally. And there's another one over here, different size. And I'll put another one over here, different size. And let them actually compile the shaders, and they'll show up differently. And there's lily pads, single, large, and little ones. I love this asset pack. Grab the undergrowth, we'll throw it there. So to me, that looks better. You got hedges. I don't think I've got any hedges in this pack, but some more fences, wooden chest. Love this bridge. I don't have a use for it right now, but I love that bridge. Kind of wishing that I had a use for it right now on this map, but I don't. So, campfire. Skeleton on the ground. We used the skeleton already. Light shaft. Torch stick. That would actually be kind of cool. Again, looking at the attention to detail, the little things that most people don't notice. If you were to turn the lighting to where it's evening or closer to dark, see they have their own sky system, skybox in here. One of the things that I definitely would do is come in here and I'll replace some of these trees with foreground versus, not foreskin, but foreground, the moving trees, and then progressively move into the static trees. But any of the trees that are right here along this edge, right next to where people would be standing, would be the nicer, prettier ones that move, and then move into the lower poly ones that move a little bit, and then into the static trees. But one of the things I like to do here is come over to, say, Polygon Town, go to the meshes, props, look for a table, and actually put a table down. There's a coffee table, it's a little too low. Grab this table right here. Now, again, when you're placing items in your maps, I like symmetry. Everything's got to be perfect. It's got to be, you know, I got to line it up perfectly this way, and I got to line it up perfectly this way, and you know, it's got to be just right. Try not being so perfect when you're placing items. Get the rotation, turn off snapping on rotation, and turn it ever so slightly. Make it look like some other asshole put it down there and didn't pay attention to what the hell we're doing. Me, I'm that OCD in real life. No, it's got to be at exactly 3/4 of an inch from this wall and 3/4 of an inch from this wall, or 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. You know, I got to have symmetry. So for the longest time, all of my maps, everything was perfectly aligned and all that stuff, and it looked like everything was properly aligned. It was boring as crap. So we just put a table down, and I know they're in here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time searching for them, but there's a stereo system, which I'll put the stereo on here, rotate it around so we can see the face of it, and we got a speaker right here, and let's actually move this guy over a little bit so it looked like someone just put the stereo system down, and that's a different speaker. Oh, this is the large speakers I put down. So it looks like someone's put down a stereo and they just plop the speakers on the table. But I've also got some tall speakers. I'll grab those and I'll put one over here. No, I would never put my speakers on the grass, but you know what, whatever. So now we have speakers, and then we want to grab a sound, add some attenuation to it, put it right here so that when you step within this radius you can hear the music, but as soon as you walk away the music just kind of fades out. So you have your attenuation set up and you got a stereo playing. Take the time to do things like that. Turn the table a little bit. The chair is not perfectly aligned. Good. Don't let it be perfectly aligned. Break some of the alignment. Make it look like it might have been put down by somebody who was an asshole. I'm saying that in a bad way, because I have so many OCDs that there's no way in hell that I would ever place something down and it not be aimed perfectly or positioned or whatever. Just take the time, do those little details, and as you can see, like over here, I've taken the time to make sure that everything that I put in here has, let's see, there's nature cue. That's going to be in map shit. Grass. That's going to go into ground tiles. I made folders for everything. Actually, we'll put that in foliage. Put that in that. And the trees. Everything needs to be neat and organized in your world outliner, so that when you're trying to go back and edit things, you can actually know where things are. If it's a tree, it's foliage. Let's move it to the foliage folder. These are props, so I'm going to move them to props. Yes and no. And like in the example of I used over here for the nature sound, the reason why you want to use sound cues instead of just a raw wave file is if I come over here and if I just put down that wave file, then it's just going to play. It's just going to make noise. If I actually go into the blueprint for the map and put it in there, then I can tell it what volume level to work with and that kind of stuff. But all you have to do is right click on it and create a cue. And that's all I did there. So now I can go into my sound cue, and if I look, I can click right here and tell it to be looping, so it'll constantly be looping that sound file. So it'll play it over and over and over and over again. But I come over here to my output, or I don't have anything checked, I can override attenuation and tell it how far away I want to hear it. I can manually set up the volume of it right here. Now, if I want to use the same attenuation level for more than just one thing, I can manually create an attenuation, and then I can apply it here. So now I can have control over that sound. So whenever I just drag it into the map, I have control. It'll now do what I told it to do. So that right there is my sound file, my sound cue. All I did was I grabbed it, drug it into the map, and there you go, done. So by doing that, I now have control over that sound more. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is I'll go in here at some point, and this TV in the living room doesn't do anything. It's just a blank object on the ground or on the table here. But I'm going to actually add a video to this TV. So when you walk into this house, well, let's do that. Let's walk into the house. And that sound cue, whenever I put it down there, it doesn't show up on the map. It's invisible. No, it doesn't affect the quality of it one way or the other. The WAV file is just the raw audio itself, and the cue is actually the controller for that WAV file. So you can see I threw it on the ground, and it doesn't show up in the map. Just I hear it in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. So now, whenever I walk in here, I won't hear anything. I won't hear anything. But as soon as I walk into this room, I can see my reflection on the TV, but I'll be able to see the TV, but I won't be able to hear it until I walk into this room. And I can set up the sound projection to where it's only on this side of the TV and not a circular radius. So if I stand out here in the yard, I won't be able to hear the TV. I can change the attenuation type to cone, and it'll only work in front of the TV. So I could probably even stand right here and not hear the TV until I actually walk over here in front of it. I mean, making the TV actually work requires doing a few different things, and actually importing the media and setting up a media and sound and all that kind of stuff. Probably won't do it on this video because I've already done it in other videos, but I will make that TV work, and that way you can actually see it. I also plan on, like, when there's other TVs, like this is a computer here, but there's another TV in here. I look at this in detail form. So I walk in here, there's just a blank TV. Downstairs, there's a blank TV. Up here, there's a computer with nothing on the screen. I can actually put an image right there on that screen. And why not, if I'm going to try to make money off of my game later, why not put advertisers right there? Show their commercial. Show a blank, just a regular image on the screen. Instead of a blank monitor, it's wasted space. Why have a computer that's off or a TV that's off whenever it's so easy to make that TV actually show something on the screen? And why not be a commercial for one of your sponsors? This one doesn't have any billboards or anything set up, but the Polygon City, I've also got the Polygon City character pack in here, which is where the dancing hot dog guy came from. Yes, I got that asset pack just for the hot dog guy so he can dance on the map. And if I could get away with it, as much as I freaking hate that stupid thing, or even saying the word meme, because I'm old and I'm grumpy as shit, I don't use the word memes, but the peanut butter jelly song, I'm sorry, but, you know, as much as I hate it, it would absolutely be one of those stupid, ignorant, funny things that just needs to happen. So when you walk over here and get close enough, and you see the hot dog dancing, you hear the peanut butter jelly song to it. I really hate that friggin' song. I really do. But because it was spoofed in so many different other things, like Family Guy, I'm sorry, just seeing Brian the dog doing that, hilarious as hell. But yeah, little shit like that. But you notice right over here, we look in this one, so you walk by that garbage truck 1,000 times, and this one is just, okay, there's garbage in it. And if you walk by any other garbage truck, that's all you're going to see. There's one thing I usually do on this map also, is like these street lights. I've got a sound effect of short-circuiting electronics. You could always do that. And then again, also, if you want to make this a nighttime thing, you could actually add lights to the street lights and make them work. If you look in this one, there's a skeleton. Someone threw a rotting corpse into the back of the garbage truck. Throw some Easter eggs in your map. Little things. Like you look in this car, okay, whatever, it's just a car. Who the hell parks in the middle of an intersection? Well, there are people that are that stupid, but if you walk over here and you look at this car, there's actually somebody sitting inside. He's just chilling, talking on his cell phone. Could always come in later and add some sound effects to it, like, no man, no, you know, whatever, just add some little dumb sound bites to it. Teleporting inside of buildings that don't have interiors. Because if I could sit here right now and go in here, there's nothing. But using that teleporter on this building and the other one that's right over here, they're both the same building, so I did both of them the same interior. And I know it's the same interior because it's that. I just teleported to this location, and then whenever you go to this door right here, you teleport back out to the door you came in from. So it was just a simple teleport system. And it makes all the difference in the world whenever you can have little things like, well, I can only go in 2 or 3 buildings. That kind of sucks. But you walk over here. Oh, okay, that's cool. So you can walk in and then, okay, I go back out. And that's another thing that I need to fix. I don't remember how to do it. Yeah, that's one thing that I don't like. I don't want to hear my footsteps. Because in real life, I don't hear my footsteps. Unless I'm walking down a completely silent, quiet hall with linoleum on the floor and my feet are squeaking on the floor, then that's about the only time I really hear my own footsteps. How often do you hear your own footsteps? So when I leave this door, now look, I can see through my body. There is some settings that you can actually do to prevent that from happening, and I will refigure out how to do that. I haven't done it in a while because I haven't needed to. But yeah, I mean, honestly, especially if you're like in this environment right here, will you really hear your footsteps? And think about it. Now, the next time you go down the hallway to go to the bathroom, hopefully you go to the bathroom to go pee instead of like in your chair or something. But okay, and you go right ahead if that's your thing. But honestly, very few areas can you actually hear your footstep. So I guess if you wanted to, you could. There's ways of doing it that can be based off of the IK to where it knows that that foot just moved. And if I just do that, I'm shuffling, and so I play a shuffling sound as I'm walking. It knows when each foot physically hits the ground, and it senses the IK and break it down into the individual components. I'm not going to add it to my games because 95% of the time you can never hear your own footsteps, and most people do it wrong anyway. So if you have it go to a sound cube where you can control the volume and the attenuation of it, then yes, for sure. Because one of the major complaints that I had about one of the asset packs that I just got, I'm not going to talk bad about them because they actually got a lot of good stuff in there. But what was happening is you stop, you eat an apple, and if I'm right here and you're on the other side of the map, you can hear me eating the friggin' apple. And it's annoying as crap whenever someone forgets to do something as simple as create a sound cue. If you want to make your own attenuation level, right click, go to sounds, sound attenuation, and let's make one called player only, whatever. You can call it whatever you want. And then in that sound attenuation, all you do is say, okay, I want it to be linear, I want it to be a sphere or a box or a capsule or a cone. In this case, it's going to be a sphere. You have the inner radius is 400, fall-off distance is 3600. Okay, we can set that to be our range of how close the wave file plays at full volume. And this is how far you have to be away before you can't hear it anymore. And yes, enable volume attenuation. So I would say if you want to, do it. I personally won't do it because, like I said, think about it whenever you're going to the bathroom or you're going to bed or you walk in to go get something out of the fridge or you're going to school or going to work, whatever. Can you really hear your own footsteps? And if you can hear them, do you really care? Yes, again, paying attention to detail, that would be a nice thing to add, but it would be conditional to the actual area. So for me, I'm walking through this town. Imagine if you're walking through your neighborhood. Do you hear your feet? No. If you're sprinting hard, you're running, you're shooting, and you're trying to not die and that kind of stuff. Okay, oh, there might be somebody around this corner. I gotta. Okay, now I'm gonna. Oh, no, there's nobody there. Okay, I can run across here now. Your blood's pumping. You might hear your heart rate before you hear your footsteps. Your heart's pounding. You can hear it in your eardrums that your heart's pounding. So that would be something that I would add before I would add footsteps. Because it does take more than just, okay, I'm going to add footsteps in. You actually need to make sure that it's synced to where left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You can't just have one audio file. Okay, now I'm walking, it plays the file, and I stop walking, it stops playing an audio file. it needs to play a file that's only a millisecond long. So every time your foot physically is hitting the ground, look how frequently my feet are hitting the ground. Bang, 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 bang. You would get this steady pulse of sound, and you need to make sure that it attenuates appropriately. So as I'm walking, if somebody is as far away as those police officers are, they won't hear my footsteps. So you have to have a really small sound attenuation, especially if you're making a multiplayer game. So you got the sound attenuation, you got the sound file, and that sound file is rapidly being played through that attenuation. So yes, it is a nice thing to add for detail, but it's a detail that should be left off to help with the performance level of the game, and it's just one of those that's probably best to be left out unless you need it for a specific scene. If you're making a really, really scary, spooky scene, you might want to hear your own footsteps a little bit, but you definitely want to hear a bad guy's footsteps, because that's going to intensify the adrenaline and the scariness. Just think about the application of it before you put them in and make it work all the time. You don't want it to be there all the time, because you're not going to hear it all the time. So yeah, that is one of those times where attention to detail, it's one of those details that can be left off for the performance level of the game, and it won't be missed. A dancing hot dog outside a convenience store is not something that's necessary, but it just adds a nice little touch. It didn't need to be there, but Oh, for horror games, absolutely. You want to hear footsteps. So if this was nighttime and you're trying to build that level, first off, my character wouldn't be walking this fast if I'm trying to set that horror vibe. So, there's so many different ways you can actually do that. You can preset it up to where the walk speed is lower for the whole map, and then maybe they can sprint as a secondary option, slow their movement down, and then yeah, you can add footsteps in if it's really quiet and it fits the mood of what you're trying to do with the map. For a normal combat map and normal, no. But for spooky stuff, when you're trying to set that horror vibe to it, you really, really need to have that. And then you're trying to control every aspect of what the player feels. So as I walk into this building, I would say once I walk into an area where I want to create that effect of I'm trying to get scared. I'm trying to get the player scared now. I could walk around whatever speed this way, but as soon as I walk in this door, it's going to change my walk speed to 1/3 of what I was doing before. So now I'm walking really slow. I'm cautious. I'm having to pay attention. Okay, you want the lighting to be dimmer. You want the sound of your footsteps. You want that way if anything else is causing footsteps, you want them to be heard, and even if there's nothing there, you can hear footsteps upstairs. I'm like, what the hell's upstairs? Do I want to go upstairs and check, or do I want to run like a scared bitch? So footsteps are a great way of taking that scene that's whenever you're trying to set that level. But I would say for 99% of the rest of the game, no, footsteps would just be unnecessary and be kind of a waste of processing speed, because you're not going to hear it anyway. If you open up a door, you don't want the door to just pop open. You want the door to squeak a little bit when it opens. Hell, half the doors in my house squeak whenever I open them. So why not add that little bit of touch to it? Why not also set it up to where if you come over here and I'm going to steal this truck, and I come over here and I get that prompt to hit E to open or whatever, but instead I try to open the door, it sets off the freaking car alarm. and the lights flash and the alarm sounds, and oh crap, no, I gotta go, because then the cops will hear it and it will trigger them to come after me or whatever. So think about your scene. I was going to say, when you start creating your scene, I'm just using a demonstration map from Synty Studios right now, just because I'm just practicing what I can do to make this map cooler, and the little touches here and there. However, when you're laying out your map, the first thing you need to do is, the first thing that I do, and I hate when videos say, you must do this. You do whatever the hell you want to do. But here's what I do. I would rather say, here's what I do. Here's my example of what I do. Because if I say, okay, like, if I see a YouTube video that says must watch, I automatically right click on it, select not interested, and I completely block that entire channel, because I don't want anybody telling me you must do this. Screw you, I'll do whatever the hell I want to do. So if you approach it as to, here's what I do, then that to me sounds more polite and is a nicer gesture. So what I do when I'm planning out a map is I'll actually sit down and I'll think about it, not even in front of the computer. I'll think about what I'm trying to do with the map. This map right here, if this is the map that I'm building, and it's already pre-made, so it's not like I built it, but if this is the map that I'm making, how do I want the player to feel when they're in this map? And this goes back to the proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. That whole video that I did about all that was, what do you want your map to be about? What is the whole feel of the map? This map right here, my whole thing is, this is your town. You live in this town. This is your house. You live here. You go home. This is your house. You walk into your house. You can go upstairs. You can go to your bedroom, your computer, your bed, your bathroom. This is your house. You live here. This is a nice, quiet little neighborhood. Friendly neighborhood. Nice things happening. A nice feel, light, airy feel to the environment. But if I walk over here and yeah, you can pause motion whenever you need to. I mean, literally, it's the whole thing is let's save my map because I did make some changes here. You can deactivate movement, because I mean, if you look at my character, I'm sure I probably have something in there. So press E. This is my interaction with the doors. Vent tick. That's the widget. Oh, I spelled that incorrectly. Hide the fucking cursor on start. Sorry, pardon my language. I have a potty mouth. I'm an old grumpy bastard. I hate having that mouse cursor show up whenever I first load into a scene or into a map. So I disabled it there. So all you're really doing, like say if we want to create and I'll use this little thing right here, this road patch. So what I'll do is temporarily create a blueprint, and we'll make it an actor, and we'll call it our slow downer, whatever. But I'm also going to I'm going to open up words, English, language, go into it, and then I'm going to select this guy. I'm going to use this as a visual representation of what I'm doing. So I'm just going to view it, find it in here, leave it selected, go back into my thing. I'm going to add a component, static mesh, and there it is. So then I'm going to come in here and add a component. Box collisions, I love them. They're great. They do so many lovely things. I'm not even going to bother naming it. I'm just going to go ahead and stretch it out to fit the size of this. And so now, whenever I step on this particular device, it's going to slow my character down. Compile and save, go to my event graph, and delete all the shite out of there. And right click on my box collision, on component begin overlap, and then from other actor, cast to player underscore base, or third person character, or whatever your character's name is. And what I want it to do is set max draw distance, no, get character movement, I would assume, and set max walk speed, to what is our walk speed? Our current walk speed is 300, I think, or 600, whatever. And if you don't know what it is, just go into your character blueprint, and if you click on your character movement, scroll down into your details panel, character movement, walking, 600. So let's actually slow our character down to 200. And now we could stop it completely if you wanted to, and that would be only slightly different. But I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to hit a delay, and we're going to make this delay for 3 seconds, and then we'll just Control C, Control V, and then we'll go back to our normal walk speed again. But we need to definitely connect this to here. And let's put that back at 600. So now, temporarily, what we're going to have this do is, as soon as we step on it, we can slow our character down for 3 seconds and then allow him to get back to normal. Or we can tell it to do that until we step off of it again. So if you're trying to create mud for an effect, we'll say, so as soon as you walk over the mud, it slows your character movement down using this same method right here without the delay on the end. It uses this, and then you do on component end overlap. So when you're no longer in that area, you can just say set your walk speed back to 600 or whatever your normal walk speed is. So now when you're in this area, it slows you down, and when you're not in this area, you speed back up to normal. So that's how you would add a tar or mud kind of effect to it. So I'll actually alter this here in just a second. So let's actually go back to our stuff, and I'm going to put this one on the ground, and we know it's the one right there. So of course it spawns me somewhere totally different because they have random spawns. That's a partial way you can set up the water effect too. There's other ways of doing that in the water. So you see, it slowed me down, and then okay, now I can go back to normal again. It's slow delay. You can make it actually stop you. Oh no, it stops you dead in your tracks and you can't move. And that's just a disable movement or deactivate. So if you came in here and said deactivate, and then activate, instead of setting your walk speed, I'm going to break this for now and grab these and just throw them up here. And now I'm going to connect this in here. So now as soon as we step on that thing, it's going to deactivate our ability to move, and then we're going to do a delay, Control C, Control V. We'll do a 3-second delay, and then we'll be able to move again. I don't have to delete these guys because they're not physically doing anything, because the executable is not connected in line. So let's make sure that we're starting in the right place. I'll come over here, right click on the map, and play from here. So now come over here, and it, bang, it completely stopped my movement as soon as I stepped on it. Waits for 3 seconds, and it enables it again, and I can walk over it. But as soon as I break that plane and step into it, it stops me cold for 3 seconds. I can't do anything. I'm holding that mouse button down, or my W key down, and it's not going anywhere. So, same thing, if we wanted to do the mud effect, that would be the mud effect would be this. We can get rid of this, and we'll leave this alone for now, because I'm just going to come in here, right click on this, my end overlap. I'm just going to drag it up here so it's close. Control C, Control V, connect those together, and if I try to connect both of them there, it's not going to work. So we can leave this to here and this to here. So as soon as we are on it, it slows our walk speed down to this. And I'm just going to break this link here, and we will get character movement, link those in. So essentially it's saying that whenever we're walking on this, this is mud, or this is tar, this is water. It slows our movement down to 200 when we're in it. When we're not in it, it tells we can go back fast again. So play from here. So now I come over here, and I'm walking slower, and now I'm walking faster. I've done this for mud. Like you get off-road and you're stuck in the mud, or you slow down when you go through the mud. I did this on a side scroller. So you can either jump over it and keep on going, but if you don't jump over it, oh no, you're slowed down. But what I did was I created a pit, and it was a tar pit. So as soon as you walk into this tar pit, oh no, I'm slowed down. But I also set up one to where when you're walking through the tar pit, there actually is a hole there, so it slows you down, and then oh no, crap, you fall through the hole and you die. So that's how you can set up a little movement stopper or slow down when you get to that point. So for me, whenever I go across it, it slows me down while I'm on it. You could use that same effect to when you're bottlenecking a player inside of a house and you want them to slow down as soon as they enter. Let's just save all. I deleted what I just created. That's great. So for horror, if you're setting up something for the Fright Night challenge, so now if you walk into this house, bang, it slows you down. The lighting is weak, and it helps to build that scary effect. Now, here's another thing here. I'm gonna walk into the house. Oh, pardon my sniffles. I walk into the house. Ceiling fan is off. I want that ceiling fan to work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the blades. Actually, no. First thing I'm going to do is actually going to go ahead and in my stuff folder, I'm going to create a new blueprint and create an actor fan blade, and I'm going to open it and make sure it's over here to the side. So now that I've got it selected in the map, I need to click here on the magnifying glass so I can find it here. I'm going to click back on it in the map, and I'm going to set delete. So I'm going to get rid of the fan blade there, but I still have it selected here now. I reselect it there, add a component, and static mesh, and there you go. I have the fan blades now in a blueprint, and then you just click over here to uncheck everything, add component, and rotating movement. Okay, so now we've got movement. It will spin. It will work just now as it is. It's lovely. It depends. How much time do you want to spend actually making it work? When that little blueprint with that little nav mesh, or that little box collision, if you're doing a small item, then that's all you need. It works great. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS method. You could spend time building physics and setting up motions and so forth, and yeah, you could. But if you're only going to use a small amount or a small area, or if you're trying to create a choke point, like slowing somebody down going through a hallway so you can focus them to hear other things to build suspense or to build the scene. Yeah, there's times where you just want something small like that. So as I walk through the hallway, I wanted to control my speed so that I'm forced to hear the sound of footsteps above me or a scream or something of that nature. There's times where you want to just use that little simple bottleneck. And a physics asset would just take way too much time to create for just something so insignificant and small. So sometimes simple is better. So I'm going to take that fan now that I just created, and you know, sometimes you're going to need to create a physics volume that will do that. And water is one of those for sure. You want to have your water physics do a certain thing. You know, that's not one that you want to worry about making a giant box collision to control it. I need to go put a bullet in my neighbor. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? So I'm going to line this up just perfectly. So now what I've done is that I've actually created a fan blade that actually rotates. So if I right click and look, the blade's spinning. Another one of those little small insignificant things. That fan blade wasn't hurting anybody. I walk in here all the time and it's just there, not moving, and it's kind of boring. So by having it move now, that's a nice touch. Now anywhere where I have a ceiling fan, all I have to do is just put on the blade that I created in the blueprint and it works. But how can we take that simple thing and make it even more interesting? Why not on event begin play? Let's get a rotating movement. Because we look at our rotating movement, we can set the speed right here, rotation rate. So let's vary that rate. It's set at 180. So can we do it? Set rotation rate on the event begin play. And okay, we can set it right there. Okay, well hell, we could have just set it right there. Big deal. But we want it to be random. We don't want it to be the same every single solitary time. So what is that? That's a rotator. So let's drag you over here, drag off from there, and make rotator. We're just trying to break that value down to something that we can actually put. So that it breaks it into a float. We can work with a float now. And we're doing the Z. And random float in range. So now we can take that, and we were at 180 was the default. So let's change that to 30 and 220. So let's see if that actually does anything, or if I just did the wrong thing. So play from here. See, it's really slow now. So what happens now if we leave and come back? Every time we come into the game now, that's really slow. So let's actually bring that number up. 30 is really slow. You get 100 to 220. So now, oh shit, I should have done play from here. So now we walk over there and walk into that house. it's going to, every time we load the map, it's going to have a variable rate, and it's not replicated. So I see it moving at this speed. You join me in this game, and you may see it at a different speed. It's not going to really matter. That's not a detail that needs to be replicated. But it is nice that it actually has a variable speed. So every time you come into the room, and every time you see a fan that you've used that blueprint for, it's going to be rotating at different speeds. Where that comes in handy is when you can see a difference. So if I actually, just for shits and grins, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to put a fan blade here. Whenever I create a restaurant or somewhere where there's going to be multiple fans in the same room, then this is where it definitely comes in handy for one of those visual effects kind of deals. So let's hit play, and you can see this one right here is moving a lot faster than this one is. This one right here is moving faster than this one. So all three of them are at different speeds. Okay, I can't stand there. I'll get dizzy as hell. But you see, just by doing that, you can set a random speed variable. So if you walk into a building where there's multiple fans up in a room, it's a nice little small insignificant touch to have it set up to where you can actually see that all of the fans are moving at a different speed. Now this rotating movement thing, really cool. But imagine you had this guy set up in a map or a saw blade, and you put a box collision associated with it on each portion of the blades here, or if it's round, you could do it with a spherical collision or whatever, you know. But you could set up a box collision on each one of these blades. So now if you come over here and you're walking through your map and all of a sudden, bang, that hits you, it's not going to pick you up and spin you around, but it'll cause damage. And if you're handy with all the other stuff that goes along with it, what would happen if we set it up to actually just chop our legs off when we walked over there, chop our head off and kill us? So you can do other stuff like that where rotating movement like a blade like that will cause damage. So again, those little cool things, the little tiny details. And again, the best way to figure out what you need is spend time walking around your map. Dumb little things like guy sitting in his car talking on his phone. You know, passive NPCs doing stuff like talking or whatever. But then when you get close enough, you can actually hear their conversation using sound attenuation levels. Going into someone's backyard and you see that they're grilling out, maybe put some burgers on there or some dogs on there and have some music playing. So you walk in the backyard, you know, there's a keg, throw some Solo cups on the ground, you know, make it look like, you know, there's a party going on, put some people back there, maybe some people dancing, some people talking, whatever. Little things like I changed the trees out over here so these trees have movement. Easter eggs, like there's a corpse in the back of this one right here, there's a skeleton. One thing I haven't done yet, I usually use this lamp right here. I'll make it do random sparks popping off of it and have a little zzz sound, so it sounds like the lamp itself is short-circuiting. Little things like the ceiling fan. You walk into a house, ceiling fan's going. You walk over and look, and there's something playing on the TV, and you can hear sound when you're in the room. You come over, there's a swimming pool. Make it to where you can go into it. What about if you took and instead of just doing the fact you can go in there, make a splash sound. It's just a little small sound to stimulate the fact that you just stepped into a swimming pool. Put decorative items on that table. A cup or a dish. Dishes in a sink. 2 cups over here. Instead of them doing an idle animation, have them talking to each other. Or have a suspect standing right there in another car right here. and make it look like they did a traffic stop. Little tiny things. Layering your, especially if you're using like the Polygon Nature Pack, varying the size and rotation of your foliage so that it actually, even though all 4 of these trees are exactly the same, they look a little bit different from each other. Layering your detail levels, going from high detail, medium detail, you can still see there's movement, but it's a low poly, and then moving into your background. So you have foreground, mid-range, and background foliage, so that it's like acting like a level of detail, even in a shorter distance here. So you can see fine detail stuff in the foreground, and between the foreground and the background, you have that transitional foliage that the closer you pay attention to the areas you're not supposed to pay attention to, you know, you're layering that visibility distance. Nonsense items, dancing hot dog, you know, it's the little things. Someone left these doors open. Well, I'm the kind of person that whenever I go into a store and someone has left the freezer doors open, I close them. But leave it open just a little bit. How many times have you gone into a convenience store and some ass clown has knocked something off the shelf and didn't pick it back up? So do that. Go into your items and like grab a drink, rotate it on its side, make it look like somebody's knocked something off the damn shelf and not picked it back up. Alright, it's not the same size as the rest of them, so just scale it up. So somebody knocked one off the shelf and didn't pick it back up. Rotate it, you know, make it look more natural in the scene, like somebody did something and they weren't supposed to do, you know. Same thing as well outside. Put a piece of trash on the ground right there. You know, people are assholes. They litter all the damn time. So I'm sure there's some trash items in here somewhere. Just toilet paper, hot dogs, pizza. I mean, you could always, you know, just grab a drink, rotate it, throw it on the ground, make litter. Yes, litter is bad. It's a terrible thing. You know, that's another little thing too, where like this, you know, it's one of those things you might, because it's green, you might never pay attention to it. But like I was saying about this football that was on the ground over here, make it to where when you walk over it, it just, you can kick it. Soccer ball. And let's see if I can actually get this one to work correctly. Let's put a soccer ball in here, and let's go ahead and simulate physics. And we want, it says physics actor. A lot of times you're going to have to fiddle around with the physics stuff to get it to work just right, because right now if I come over here and I hit that soccer ball, now I'm regretting going ahead and putting in all the random spawn points, because now before it, you know, it spawned in the same location, and it's probably best to keep one spawn location while you're testing things. If I come over here now and I hit it, there you go, soccer ball bounces all over the place. You can change the weight of it. So imagine you could use this for a quick little mini game. Come back here, you son of a bitch. You're just bouncing all over the damn place. The weight of it's really, really low right now, so I would probably increase the weight so it would slow it down a little bit. But you create a little soccer game or whatever. Did it just go through that building? Some of the physics are weird, so you have to play with the physics on it. But little things like that, make it to where you can kick a ball around, kick a can around. And add physics to your characters and ragdoll effects to your characters. So come over here and I shoot this cop in the back of her head. She falls over dead. So it's like, okay, we got this patrol car here. Let's add in a car. Since I have multiple asset packs in here with cars in it, grab one from, and yes, that's a police car from Polygon City. So let's add in a muscle car. And short term, let's add in a animation posing and put this guy in here. Same kid, it was the other one. And let's go ahead and put him in the car. So you have to get in the car with him so I can see where his butt goes. And move him back. And I'm going to rotate him as well because I want him to not stick his head through the ceiling. So I can just rotate his buttocks. In worst case scenario, I'll make the car bigger. Just don't want his hat to go through the ceiling, and I don't want his feet to stick to the floor. They are a little bit, but that's good enough. So that's not bad. And now we can take this, and she's talking to the driver, and he's over here on the passenger side. What I'll probably end up doing is go to my NPCs, and I got F_cop_S. For this, the naming convention is female cop, and S is for static. So I could actually come in here and let's have the female cop not just standing there. Let's close the fan blade. We don't need that. And open full editor. This is a child actor blueprint. This wasn't, you know, or was it? It might have been. I don't know. Shit. I create things, and if I don't pay attention to them, I forget how I created them. But what we're going to do is look at the poses I got here. So now she's talking, using her hands, that kind of stuff. So talking 3. So instead of using the regular idle animation, I'm going to go ahead and change from use animation blueprint to use animation asset, and I'm going to select the appropriate one. If you don't want to go through all of this and try to figure out, well, it was this one, no, you always go back to here. You know you were using this one, so you click on it outside the editor and click on this arrow here, and there you go. So now she's talking. So compile and save and exit, and click on her so we can get it rotated a little bit more towards the driver. So now we go in here. We have a little bit of movement. Okay, I had to figure out where the hell I was. Get to know your town. Know what's going on. This is where it'd be good to add your own sound file. When you get your sound attenuation set up, you get closer, and then now you start hearing, I don't know why you were going so fast. You kids nowadays, you know, whatever. Just add some sound to it, some sound attenuation and little sound file of random bits of a female officer complaining to a kid for driving too fast. Or whatever, you know. Oh my God, it's such a cool car. You know, whatever. Oh no. Soccer ball went underneath the damn garbage truck. I mean, you could have the firefighter over here talking to somebody or whatever. Your animations. You can never have too many random animations. Sitting and talking or dancing or, you know, what have you. I'm probably not going to use most of these. I dropped in a bunch of them and then started looking through which ones I was going to keep. And there's a bunch of them on Mixamo, and you can retarget the Mixamo animations to work here. It's a pain in the butt, but you can get it to work. I was just going through a bunch of stuff that I already had pre-made so that I could just transfer them in and do them. And I think I used, for the dancing hot dog, I think it was, hell, I don't remember. That's one I used before also, and the Try Before You Buy version of the Sci-Fi Project, the robot strippers were actually doing this dance move right here. That's a little bit too much of a complicated dance for me. I can't dance like that. But you can do all kind of different stuff. You can sequence them. The thing I don't like about a lot of the animations on Mixamo is they're not stationary animations. Meaning, I start at 0.0.0, but whenever I finish, I'm at 12.5 by 7. I'm in a different location than where I started from. So you can't seamlessly do those animations, because as soon as you stop the animation, your character is now in a different location. So they teleport back to 000 to start the next animation sequence. So you have to know exactly where they go. So you're going to sit there and say, okay, I'm watching this right now, and he ends right here. So now I've got to adjust and teleport my character, and just, I don't like these kind of animations because like I said, they don't lend themselves to fluid movement. Some other ones that I've got that are crawling and walking and some of those like that, and they don't work seamless, because when you stop doing the animation, you need to be in the same location that you started the animation, or it doesn't look seamless. Walking in place animations and running in place animations are the only way to go when you're working with Unreal Engine 4. Otherwise, it just doesn't look right and doesn't work right. So, like with using individual animations, she's always going to do this animation. She'll never stop. I could have gone in there and had her doing the idle animation and then randomly do different animations and then go back to doing the idle animation. That's a possibility. As long as you start and stop at the same location, it'll work out. So for my NPC, for the female cop, I could actually, instead of having just using this one animation asset, I could have just come in here and got more complex and do a random timer between 2 and 10 seconds or whatever, and go from idle animation to and I could just change the animation, or I can actually use the animation blueprint, do an animation separately, and then go back to the animation blueprint. I could set it up and be more complicated and set them up as montages, but there's a half dozen different ways to do that, and I'll get more complicated in this later, and I'll do it as a separate video. But for now, it's one of those things where, again, take your time, walk around your map, put yourself in the situation of, I'm a player and this is how I want the player to play the game, and then go back and play it again as, I'm an asshole and I'm going to try to break everything that I possibly can. Can I kill this police officer to make her shut up? No, I can't. I don't have any combat in here right now. Can I get in the way? What will happen? Can I steal this car? Can I pull this guy out of this car? What can I do to break shit? So be an asshole and think of every way you can actually break the game. Can I actually get out of the map? Why did you need to? There's no need to. All the action is happening over here. Why would you need to try to come over here and exit the map? There's no reason. There's nothing over here. There's nothing for you. Go away. Go back and go play the game. But you know good and damn well there's going to be some monkey boy that's going to come over here and like, look, I can go where I'm not supposed to go. I'm going to do it. Oh, look, I'm not supposed to be back here, but I'm back here. And then, say if they go down right here and they get stuck, then they complain, well, when I go back over here, I got stuck. Well, why were you back there? Just because I was going to go over and do... No. Why the hell are you out here? There's nothing for you to do out here. The whole entire game is on the other side of the map. Why would you be here? And it's just because they can. Just because people want to break shit and push the limits of normality. So what happens? I walk over here and, oh no, I'm falling forever. Oh no, I can't stop. I can't even die. I'm stuck floating underneath the world. Why? Because you're stupid. Think about those kind of dipshits. And I'm one of those dipshits. I will do that. Whenever I'm bored with a game, I will find the limits of what I can do. I'm looking for things that I can break. Yeah, I'm just that kind of asshole. So put yourself in a position of that kind of asshole and do the unnecessary. Go ahead and you're going to have to put in a blocking volume to be able to keep people from coming over here and falling out of the world. It's a waste of resources to do it, but you know somebody's going to fall out of the world. So you're going to have to put a bunch of them in, especially like if you're using this map here, it's not perfectly square. So you're going to have to put a bunch of blocking volumes in to keep people from falling out the map. So why not also put pain volumes and stuff like that so the character takes damage? So I'm going to say, take your time, play your game, play your maps. Play it in the regard of this is how I want players to do things. And then play it with the regards of, I'm an asshole. I don't give a shit what you decide this map to do. I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm me and I'm better than you. And, you know, put yourself in every other aspect of gameplay. And think about the douche knuckles that want to break your shit. You know, play it in that regard. Look where anywhere we could fall out of the world and block it. And here's the thing. Games that really piss me off are games that are what I call on-rail games or on-track games. When you're playing this game, okay, you're starting right here and you have to go here. You have to go down this road right here, and then you have to go down this road right here, and then you have to go over here. Yeah, I mean, that's another way of doing it with your maps, is actually put physical borders. You've got these mountains over here. Make steep mountains and cliff walls and things like that that will actually prevent the player from falling out. So that's also a good way of doing it, but it doesn't fit every map's visual appeal. I mean, you've got mountains in the background here, so you could actually do that with this map. Actually put mountains in here, and that would work. But games that force you to, okay, you have to go down this road here, and then you have to go to the right, then you have to go to the left, and then you have to go over here, and then you have to go over here, then over here, that force you. You have to follow this set path, or else you just can't go. There's a blocking volume, and I want to go down this road right over here, but there's a wall, or there's an overturned bus, or there's something blocking me from going this way. I have to go this way, but I really want to go this way, but I can't. Everything is blocking me from going this way, but I want to go that way. So I'm going to come over here, and can I jump through this window? No, damn. Can I come over here and get through this yard and cut back over? No, damn, I can't get over here. But I want to go down that road. I hate games that limit your movement, that force you to go this way when you want to go this way. So instead of forcing a player by putting up barriers and barricades and overturned buses or blocking volumes or things of that nature, how do you get your player? I want my player to go to his house and go to his bedroom. That's the next thing he has to do as part of this mission or this scenario or this map. He has to go to his room. Well, I don't want to go to my room. I'm going to come over here. and I'm going to kick this truck, or I'm going to set this car on fire. Oh, hurricane. Yeah. The worst of it is over our head right now. It's not raining, and there's no more wind than normal day around here. It completely petered out by the time it slammed through North Carolina, tore shit up, and then hovered a little bit, went south a little bit, sat right on top of us, and then started going up the state. But it went from a hurricane category 5 down to a category 1 by the time it hit North Carolina, and then when it hit south to hit us, it already downgraded into an afternoon thunderstorm. Yeah, with the but yeah, thanks for asking about the hurricane. So yeah, forcing a player to only do and only be able to go. Yeah, I do appreciate it, because I was kind of worried there for a while, and there was some touch and go moments where all the stores closed up way too early. I didn't have any freaking food, and then they decided to open up the next day. So I was able to stock up on food. Now I got a shitload of food. And I'm a fat kid already, so I stocked up on shit that was high carb stuff, so that we didn't, in case it had to stretch it out, there was enough carbs and enough stuff in it to sustain me and Mom for a while. So to keep from having to hardcore force people, I want to go to the right, I want to go down this alleyway, but I can't, because there's a bus blocking it, or a blocking volume that keeps me from going there. Instead of putting hard borders in, or hard blocking in, make it interesting. Figure out ways to make the player want to. The next objective is, I want the player to come over here. I want them to go into their house. I want them to go upstairs and go to their bedroom and get in their bed. So that's the next thing I want my player to do. So how do you make the player want to follow the storyline? Is to make it interesting. If I'm over here and naturally I'm just kind of goofing around on the map and I'm following the story, but you know, what makes me want to go down this road? Well, something like visual. Okay, there's a couple of cops that are stopped the car here. Yes, what I would do is I would add flashing lights to the police car, so it looks like there's a traffic stop. I've created an interesting focal point in the map to make me want to come over and say, well, what's this over here, so I can come check it out. Now, by creating an interesting focus point, or focus the player's attention, there's something going on. I want to see what's going on. We're naturally inquisitive, which makes us stupid most of the time, because we always want to stick our nose where it doesn't belong. So we see something, it catches our eye, we want to go check it out. What's going on over there? So you come over here. Well, now you've gotten closer to your house. The player is closer to the house, and you did that instead of by putting a large bus overturned with a blocking volume, keeping you physically from going that direction. You've created a visual point of interest that causes a natural inquisitive mind of a player to want to come over and see what's going on. So now we've forced a player to come closer to their house, which is part of the mission that we're trying to make them do by creating that, to get them closer. Then, it's like a trail of breadcrumbs. You want to start putting more and more interesting things in to bait the player to come in here. I can go in here into the garage. I can look. Is there anything that I can loot? Can I pick up anything? Oh, hell, this is my house. So then you start exploring your house. You go into the bathroom. Is there anything that I can loot in here? Is there anything I can do? Anything I can interact with? Anything I can break? Oh, there's stairs. Let's see if I can go upstairs. Yeah, I can go upstairs. Is this... Well, what is that icon that's floating over here? Oh, this must be a mission. I have to go here. Oh, okay, get in bed. So you leave a trail of breadcrumbs of things that will catch the player's attention. So even if they know they're on the other side of the map and they come over and they say, okay, your mission is to go into your bedroom, get in your bed, and go to sleep. So, yeah, I still love these little simple teleport systems. Come over, use the door. Okay, there we are. So you're in your office, you're working, and now the thing is, okay, it's late at night, it's time for you to go home and go to bed. So you come over, go through the door, walk down the street, leaving that trail of breadcrumbs to get you to go towards your house, and go inside, go upstairs, go to bed. But it's daytime. Someone's cooking hot dogs. I'm hungry. So yeah, little things like that. The little details are going to make or break your game. So, and that's the thing is, like this stuff. If your player's way over there and they see that, they're going to get inquisitive. They're going to want to check things out. They want to go try things and break things. Yeah, I've already got another game mode for that, for building. Kick the soccer ball around. So I'll show that really quickly. Save all. Make sure I save everything here. There is an asset pack you can actually purchase on the marketplace that does that. I'm going to change it around a little bit and actually make my own version of it, because theirs has got a lot of bugs in it, but it's still good enough to use. So it's actually called the Survival Game Kit. You can get it. It has already got the stuff built into it. Pretty much got it broken in this one, but essentially theirs is already set up to utilize the building and making houses and crafting and stuff like that. This I've got to update it. I haven't updated it yet, but there is another update coming soon too. I'm getting ready to take a break here in just a second. But the Survival Game Kit, and this is their asset pack. The way it came, actually not the way it came. I've started doing some fixes on it. Worth checking out if you're into like crafting and building houses and things like that. I've got a demo of it in BBG Demos that has got a different map. That's just a go in there and play. It's a multiplayer. You can go on there with your friends and goof off and build houses and junk. So it'd probably actually be better if I go into that instead of this, because a better showing of how to do it. I don't like to show other people's files and how they made something, that whenever they sell something on the marketplace. So it's not fair that I would take somebody else's asset pack and then show it on the live stream saying, hey, this is how they did that. Yeah, this thing is a fatigue bar. That comes in the same as a stamina bar, and it would just be accumulated throughout your day. But then again, like old school World of Warcraft, I know that you could actually go in there and if you go to sleep, your character gets rested, and while you're rested, you gain experience faster or something like that. Give an incentive for the player to actually go to their house, go to their bed, go to sleep, and build that incentive level to it. Let's see here. What is it? If you look in the BBG demo section, actually it's the very last thing that's put in there. It's survival demo. So I'm actually going to go ahead and load that project. Actually, I'm not going to load the project. I'm actually going to go ahead and load that demo. So once you download that demo, you unpack it, and this is what you're going to have inside the folder. Just run that and just double click on it, and it'll actually go into the actual game itself. And this is a standalone game. You're not going to get any free assets. Oh, I can download this and just reverse engineer it and modify their stuff. No. This is and I believe I told you to load the game. Going to actually, I'm going to close Unreal. So this is completely standalone. It's not going to work inside the editor. It's going to be as a standalone game. And it is multiplayer, so you can play with your friends, or you can just play with yourself, you know. It's dark. Alright, so, it is Steam functionality, just like all of my demos. You can do multiplayer, you can host games, find games. I'm going to host one called Frog Peckers. And make. So with their asset pack, and I have been doing some fixes to theirs because there were some issues with it, sound attenuation and some other things too, but and the recipe system. But what you got is like a furnace, you got a chest you can open up, you got armor, which in this case is the cardboard armor, so water bottle so I can get my thirst. I can drag it in my inventory, or I can right click on it and equip it. Isn't that beautiful? Got a crafting bench where I can craft things here. Got a campfire where I can cook food. Furnace, I can actually smelt things. You got hunger, thirst, and health. Come over here to the pond and you can actually drink water from the pond. I have put in each of these little spiky looking things is 99 rounds of ammo. So you've got an M4, and I'll pick that up, and I'll pick up a red dot scope and a silencer. Now, I haven't adjusted their sounds or anything else too, but we also got a, and this pisses me off, it says, oh, it's a P1911. It's not a fucking 1911, it's a Beretta M9. So I need to grab some ammo too. Then there's a pump shotgun. Grab some ammo, red dot scope for that. Here's some iron bars, large backpack. There's a pickaxe, a hammer, regular axe, blueprints. Well, we're going to need those. And then let's go ahead and get a hammer. And we got apples, we got water bottles, flashlights, and 5, and yes, the flashlight comes out. Hit F to turn it on and off, and then you hit 5 to put it back away again. Hit tab to open up your inventory screen. You right click, you can drink, or you can drink it by hitting the number key. Weapons, select my M4. If I right click, it brings me into first person view, or I can hit the V key and go into a first person view. I right click, it goes to aimed mode. You can see this is just a regular M4 with no sights on it whatsoever. Same thing with the M9. Nothing special about it. Pump shotgun, iron sights. So let's actually take and go into my inventory. I'm going to grab my red dot scope, throw it on here. Let's put a silencer on there. Let's put a silencer on the pistols. Put a scope on the shotgun, and go back to my M4. Now we got the red dot, and we got the silencer, of course. With the M4, you got semi-automatic. Hit the B key, full auto. Hit B again. 3-shot burst. Hit B again. Go back to semi-auto. Sound files are not correct. Pistol. And R, reload. So, same thing with the shotgun. Now you can see that I've got the scope on it. Scope is absolutely wrong. The sound attenuations are horrible. So you're going to have to fix every single solitary item in the game's sound files and sound attenuation, because somebody forgot and actually linked the wave file instead of the sound cue. So nothing has any attenuation. So if you come over here and you eat an apple, somebody on the other side of the freaking map is going to hear you eat the apple. Here's the rest of your armor. You can pick up cardboard and craft your own cardboard armor. Let's come over here and pick up some wood. Let's equip my blueprints. Let's go back to third person mode. Stop crouching. Now you can come over here, hold down the F key, select foundation, and you can craft your foundations, door frame, Let's put wall sections with windows. Let's put in regular wall sections. Now these are log walls because this is your basic wall. Now let's put in a set of stairs. Well, they're not rotated correctly, so hit the R key to rotate. So let's do that. And then let's go ahead and hit the F again, hit this, go to my alternate, let's get a door. Same thing, come over here and let's put shutters on the windows. Let's go over here, let's do this. And wall sections need supports. So you can't build off of this unless you have support for it. Some areas will allow you to do that, like so, because you already have enough base support. You open up your door, close your door, you can open and close your blinds. So now you can build an overhang over your first floor. Let's see what else you can build. Let's build like this to put down here so you can actually walk smoothly into your house. Columns, so if you need to add extra support in, you can do that. Oh no, insufficient resources. How about that? So now if I come over here, I can actually grab stone and go ahead and break out my hammer and hit the Q key, and I can either repair here, demolish, or upgrade. And I can upgrade them to stone, makes it a little bit stronger. So this is, you know, not bad for what little bit of money you pay for this asset pack on the marketplace. And you can make a really quick thrown out game that you can actually play with your friends, like, or you could just download what I've already done here for free from my website or from my Discord, and just screw around and shoot yourself and shoot your friends and do some crafting or building or whatever. You know, I can even upgrade the stairs. I can upgrade the column. Can't upgrade the door though, or the shutters, but it's cool. You got a little crafting system you can work with. Say you got weapon systems. It's replicated. Right now, if you download this from my Discord channel in the BBG demos section, then this is what you get right now. It is replicated. I do have the multiplayer menu, so you can actually come in here and just begin playing. Now, another thing to note, if you are using the axe, you can come over here and chop down trees. And when a tree goes down, it goes away. You can use this same axe to try to harvest stone, but you get one or two. It's really kind of crappy. But you can come over here and get a pickaxe, and if you use the pickaxe on the stone, okay, max weight. So let's come over here and stack that. Let's drop that. Let's drop the wood. I don't care about that. So throw that stuff on the ground. You can see now it's on the ground. I can get back over and pick it up later if I want to. So the pickaxe is actually going to go ahead and give me 10 stone versus 1 or 2 that the regular axe gives me. And if I try to get wood with it, I only get 2 or 3 with the pickaxe versus the axe giving me 7 to 10. So they're appropriate to whatever you're trying to chop. So there I can drink water and come over here, and there is actually stuff here on these tables. They're random spawns, and you see that these things have now, I can't drag that one off because I actually have it equipped. I can unequip it, and now I can drag it off from my inventory bar. So the backpack actually does increase your backpack size, or your amount you can carry. But there's random spawns that will come up here. Now you see there's that there and that there. I put a metal bed here. So if you come in here and get the metal bed, you can craft it at the crafting bench. You can set that down, give it a name. And then you come over and hit E and set the spawn point. So spawn point set. So now if I die, I'm going to respawn back over here at my bed. If I didn't have that, then you're just going to spawn over here in this corner. So this is actually pretty cool. So you guys can just grab this and play this and have fun with it. I'm actually working on a modified version of it. Let's grab some apples. So now, and I'm doing things to fix more of this. So I hit the number 4 key. I can eat an apple. Apples are going to give me hunger and thirst. So you can just carry a bunch of apples and fix yourself. I put all these stacks of 99 apples, all these stacks of 10 bottles of water. No, I did not activate the save game yet because this is multiplayer. And it's meant for just coming in here. You guys can use this map if you want to as a quick opposing forts. So now this is my fort over here. I can shoot across and shoot the other side of the map and, you know, that kind of stuff. It was meant to be more of a try before you buy. Their save game stuff doesn't work. It's not activated, so I didn't bother activating it. There's nothing in the player character that that says, okay, this is that. So if I go back to the main menu and go back into multiplayer again, there's no saving for sure in multiplayer. But if you go into single player, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just play single player and I'll do all this stuff and I'll make this. It's meant to be a demo, so that's why I didn't do a save game. But they have some of the save game stuff is in their template, and I will probably activate it myself and make it work. I am slowly converting this over to use with the Cindy Studio assets, but their aim spaces that are in this project are kind of shit up, and I'm having to redo a lot of their stuff. If it wasn't for the fact there was so many things that are functional out of the box with this asset pack, I don't think I'd recommend it. But since you do get the ability to put on a backpack and do construction and flashlight works, it's all replicated. I mean, everything is good to go. I mean, it's usable as it is. Just requires a lot of little individual fixes. I don't mind doing those little individual fixes. As for a save game, I would see where you might want to do that in single player here. But again, this was just a try before you buy demo that I was going to put together for that company. So I can help them to troubleshoot their bugs. But I haven't got a response back from them yet, so I haven't continued with it yet. But like I said, if you guys want to play this, it is available. The link is available on my Discord channel. Just go right there to BBG-demos and go in there. There's a link to my Google Drive. You can download it from there. I think once I fix a few more things in here, I may just throw it as is on itch.io. I might put the save game in. You know, who knows? Let it just save to localhost. You know, so each player saves their own. You know, this is not going to be... Well, it still utilizes Steam, but I'm not going to... Until they get some more things fixed and I get some more help working on this project, I'm not going to put this one on Steam myself because I got to change everything. I got to change the characters. I got to change a lot of stuff. But before I spend $100 to get a Steam app ID on this, I'm going to have to change a lot of things. Like this backpack, got to go. The player characters, got to go. I might do a realistic theme like this, but I'm definitely changing the foliage. You know, you've only got one tree in there and one bush in there, so I'll change that around, change the characters around. I have to fix all of the sounds. I've already had to go in here, so when you go into your backpack, there was no way of crafting a friggin' crafting bench in the recipe list, so I had to create that. I added the pickaxe and the repair hammer to the and I think I did the no, the wood axe was there. I added these 3 items to the crafting recipe list. I changed the metal bed because since you can't craft the crafting bench, and even when you do craft the crafting bench, you can still craft a furnace, which says requires crafting bench, but the metal bed said requires crafting bench, but you couldn't build the damn thing, even if you were at the crafting bench. So their shit's broken somewhere along there, and I just kind of did a quick fix on it. You can actually break it down into classes, what you can and cannot build. Since this is building stuff, it goes here. Clothing or armor goes here. First aid. I'll add the bandage in. There is a bandage system in. I did not put it in here, but I'll put a bandage in there, and you can put bandages in this spot. Weapons. You know, actually these will get changed over to tools and weapons. So if you want to craft a knife, or you want to craft the M4 or the pistol or whatever, you can do them there. Or you can show all of them. You can change the way it looks this way. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool stuff already in here. And hit tab to close the menu. You've got weapons. You've got the ability to put the silencer on the pistol. You can put a scope and silencer on the rifle. You can do that with a shotgun. So there's a lot of cool shit too. Oh yeah, there'll definitely be some AI. I've got somebody doing some AI for me right now. I've already got some AI that I've already done. I'm still tweaking the AI behavior tree. I'm not good with those, but I'm working on those. I've currently got them right now where I have patrolling AI system, where they will actually patrol, get them to walk around certain areas, and then when they see the player, they run towards the player. I haven't issued them weapons or kill commands yet, so you know, one thing at a time. Getting them a little bit at a time is where I want, but I'm trying to focus in on some of the other detail items. But I will definitely get back on this. Oh, there's a can of beans. Tab, and move that to my inventory if I want to, or I can right click on it and eat it. But having it in my inventory bar, I can just hit my number 1 key. There we go. Yeah, you could do some of the stuff in a regular blueprint, like using the pawn sensing and stuff like that. Like, oh, I see the player. I'm going to now go towards him. Or if they hear sound, you can put sound in there too. So, oh, I heard a noise. And they come over towards the player. So you can do a lot with blueprints with AI behavior. AI behavior trees just help you refine things and set things like, okay, waypoints. I want my AI to come over here, walk to this waypoint, then come over here, walk to this waypoint, then go over here, then over here. But now if I hear the player, now I'm going to come over after the player and ignore my waypoints. If I lose the player, well, whatever. Then I'll go back to my last waypoint and then continue on. Or I might have to navigate my way back to my original waypoint and now start all over again. You know, whatever. You can define how your AI actually acts and behaves when they are patrolling, when they attack. But the majority of stuff you can actually do inside of a blueprint. Alright, any questions before I take a quick break? I'm going to take a smoke break because e-cig won't cut it for me. I can put on a nicotine patch and hit the e-cig, and I would still, once I get to a certain point, I have to buffer that. So I'm going to work a bit more on my health this week, starting this week, and try my ass off again to quit smoking. Pain in the ass, but I gotta try. Yeah, you can definitely work on the intelligence level of them and refine more of what they can do. Alright, any questions before I take my break? So this demo is on my Discord channel, so you're more than welcome to hop on the Discord channel and go in there and pick it up. When you first load the screen, you get into right here. You have to have Steam running in the background if you want to play multiplayer, and the reason for it is because I'm putting my game on Steam, so I'm not going to develop a system right now without Steam until I get my product on Steam making money. But so you do need to have Steam running in the background, and everybody that you want to play with you, so you don't have to play with yourself all the time. You can have your friends join you. They need to have Steam running in the background as well, and they need to be on the same Steam region. There's ways of spoofing that. I've had people in from Germany and other countries that actually were able to spoof Steam and actually get in, and it works. A little bit of a latency issue, but whatever, it still works. But you can play a single player just by clicking that, and boom, it'll go right in. You can play a single player, you hit escape, you get the escape menu. You can either resume game. One thing I didn't think of whenever I set up the escape menu system is what happens if I hit escape again. I could have just put a flip-flop on that. So, main menu, multiplayer, I want to find a game. They'll show up right here. If you don't see them after a while, you can click on Find Lobby. It will refresh and search again for any other games that were made. And if nobody's already hosting one, you can go ahead and click on Host. Give it a cool name, and it saves the name automatically. So now somebody else is looking for a game. Yeah, I'm gonna, as soon as I do more with this project right here, I'm gonna put it on itch.io. This was just the demo version of what I'm throwing together. This is just a sample map. I got somebody making the map, and I got somebody else working on some AI behavior trees for me, and I'm working on other little small things and trying to finish converting it over to the Synty Studios characters. But I'm having problems with the aim spaces. What's happening is, like, I look up, down, left, right, and it's great. But if I go to the center and go up here or up right, his friggin' head explodes. Or I go down here and he shrinks and falls sideways. I'm having problems with it. And I go through the aim spaces and they look great. They look fine. They're normal. It's pointing to all the correct animations, all the right things. But as soon as I go into the game and I look upright, it just destroys the character. Oddball weird errors, and I can't figure out what's going on with it. And honestly, I would rather just delete the whole frickin' thing and start from scratch. I may actually not do this one yet with Synty Studios assets. Just keep working on that one on the side and just use some other characters for the main characters. And weapons wise, these are fine. I'm not going to change these weapons. I will, however, fix the damn descriptions. Pick up P1911. It is not a fucking P1911. This is a M9. Because you put 9mm ammo. And yes, there's 9mm 1911s. I've made this complaint before, but know what the frig you're putting in your map. If you want this to be a 1911, use a 1911 model. Don't say that it's a 1911 and show a frickin' Beretta M9 or 92 model. A little dumb shit like, I can't fit through here, so I'll have to open up that gap so you can actually walk between tables. And the actual playable map, that's when it's finished, this is also going to be part of the Fright Night bases too. So I have a project working with this thing here. Just I had to go through and fix a lot of stuff with it. The entire UI is going to be changed. So it'll be a different heads-up display down in the bottom left. The health will look different. The hunger, the thirst, everything is going to be different looking. Just about all the other models, like the armor is probably going to get removed completely. The backpack model is going to be completely changed. I don't really need armor. I don't, put on chest armor. Okay, yeah, that's going to stop bullets to your chest. Oh, you can put on head armor. Okay. Put on some cardboard pants and some feet. I'm getting rid of this armor completely, and not going to have an armor system at all. There will be the hunger and thirst will probably be in there. The weapons will be in there. For one of the game modes, you're not going to worry about construction or making things. I do have a game that's actually on there on itch.io, but it was just a demo as well. Alrighty, I'm going to take a little break. go to the bathroom. I did grab a drink before I started, but didn't even open the damn thing yet. So, I finished my coffee, though. Just check it out and tell me what you think about that, and tell me what you would do with that asset pack. And it is available on the Steam Workshop, but I just need to get back to work on it and clean up a few things and finish fixing the sound bugs, the attenuation. Once I get those done, the next version that I release of the of this, I'll probably go ahead and have a different character in here. I don't know, back and forth. I'm back and forth on the character just yet. So, like I said, pop in, say hello on the Discord channel. I'm going to be AFK for a few minutes, but if you guys want me to stream some more, and actually instead of doing what we were doing before, actually just go in here and what did I do? I had 2 copies of the game. I ran both versions. So, yeah. That's why I was getting a little bit of a sputter every so often. I had 2 copies of the damn thing running at the same time. But if you want me to do a Q&A video, let me know. Where I actually just have a blank project up and we're just shooting the shit, doing features, like the teleports and other things like that. Let me know in Discord what you want to see, and we'll fiddle around with it and get it working. But I'm going to take a break for a little bit, give my voice time to rest. This is 2.5 hours, and normally I keep these streams to 1 hour. So this is 2.5 hours. So, alright guys, I will see you shortly. Let me know on Discord if you want me to stream again, and if you want to do a Q&A. Thanks guys.